It's December 1st. We're here at the Bald Mountain Shelter. Something. I think it's the Bald Mountain Shelter. And last night it rained like the whole night, pretty hard. The entire, like from the time that we got here, which was, I don't know, like 3:30 or something, to when we woke up, it was pretty much raining most of the time. But then it got harder, like when we went to sleep, and it started raining into the shelter. So I'll show you. So you can see there's like this platform, and then there's also one up here. And the one that's up top is kind of protected by like the overhang. So we were sleeping over there, but then it was raining on us, so we moved up here to the top bunk, and then it didn't really rain in the top, so it was good. And there's a privy here, which is great because there haven't been privies since Damascus. And we are headed for Hot Springs. We'll be there in a couple days. And is there anything else? 2.5. That's, yep. Is there anything else important to talk about?
We're about a day late
Yeah.
on our schedule.
Well.
But luckily we have enough food that we should be able to do it on an extra day.
Mhm.
Because we only did 12 yesterday.
If that, 11 maybe.
11-ish. And we did 6 the other day.
Because we left Erwin.
12.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we stayed here because I didn't want to hike in that rain.
No, it was very
It was
heavy rain.
pouring. So, a lot of our stuff is dry now. Not all of it, but it's better than like hiking in the rain for several hours. Even though it's probably going to rain some today, maybe not as hard. And then tonight it's probably going to freeze and it might snow. So we'll have to make sure all of our stuff is taken care of tonight.
The prediction is very weird. So the prediction says that tonight it's going to rain mainly before 9 p.m. And we don't know when tonight starts.
Right.
So we're like...
Is it 1 o'clock in the afternoon? Is it 7 o'clock at night?
It says that in the morning it's going to stop raining after 11 a.m. So we don't know when it's going to start between 11 a.m. and 9 p.m. But we'll see.
We'll find out. If water droplets start coming out of the sky, then that's how we'll know.
Oh,
that it's
that's
raining.
how we know.
Yeah.
I forgot. I'm so glad you reminded me. Now I know how to figure out if it's raining.
Yes, so we're prepared now. Oh, there's also bear cables here. Look at this. Can you see that?
Go over and look
I
at
don't want to.
that. Ow! I can move my...
Oh,
butt
you don't have to.
socks.
Oh yeah, look at these slamming frog togs. Whoa. Can you show us the hole? Huh? They're very stylish though. Okay, but honestly, they're really good at keeping you dry. So.
They keep me dry, like the most important places on my legs.
Mhm. Yeah. So we're like really team frog tog over here. Like I'm a big proponent. I'm getting some frog togs soon. I am, because my rain jacket failed me. Yep. Okay.
Oh yeah, you should have. Why did you put your rain jacket?
It's in the outside of my pack.
Are you gonna hike in that?
Yes. If it starts raining, I'm gonna put it in my dry bag.
And what are you gonna do then?
Put it on my wet rain jacket. Just get wet.
Where's the black
Shirt?
no, the
Trash bag? Oh, on the outside of my pack.
maybe we should make a hole in it right now.
Let's do it. Here on top of, I don't know, this bald patch. Up there you can see where we were this morning on Bald Mountain, on the tall one up there. Although it was really foggy this morning, so we couldn't see. But now we can. This area is more developed than I was thinking. It's like maybe some vacation houses or something. But Looks like maybe people camp here. There's some fire rings. And apparently we're about 2 miles away from Sam's Gap, which is a parking area. But it feels really good out here right now. Like the sun is nice, so that's good.
How has the trail been so far?
Pretty moderate. I mean, it's just kind of, we like came down the ridge and then we climbed up just a little bit now. It was a little bit muddy in some spots this morning, but not bad. There were some water sources that were pretty good, flowing pretty good after the rain, so yeah, it's fine.
I would say very well maintained, actually.
Oh yeah.
Like super good steps down.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like they just made new steps going down from Big Bald.
Yeah, there were some stone steps and then like the wooden kind of like log steps that they have sometimes. I bet this area might be pretty popular in like the summer, I would imagine.
And we got some very nice views up from Big Bald, right?
No, it was so foggy. It was really windy. We couldn't see very far. But seeing it now, I bet there would have been good views down to here.
Definitely. I'll just zoom in again on it. This is the patch in the top where we walked through the fog and we couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
So.
But now it's very nice.
Beautiful weather right now.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't imagine that we had like a whole night of
rain.
pouring
Heavy
rain. And we were under a tin roof, so it was very loud.
Tonight it's supposed to snow.
It is. It's gonna be nice. Well, let's go again.
Okay, bye. So you can see that we're about to cross under Highway 26. Look at this. Let's see. I'm guessing we're gonna go under the underpass, or an underpass. Here we go. Sorry. Hi, this is 26. I don't know if that is Sam's Gap right there, or if we have to go under. I'm not quite sure. So I'm here in the Flint Mountain Shelter. I guess it's probably dark and you can't see very much. Maybe if I turn on my headlamp. I don't know if that's helpful. But anyway, we stayed here last night and Candybar put up his tarp, not quite like this, but on the side that we were sleeping because it snowed. Here, let's go look. Yeah, it snowed last night. And we didn't want it to snow in again. So, he put up the tarp. We got in really late, like going on 9 o'clock or something. But this is what it looks like out here. It's snowing right now. So we got a hike. We're hiking 23-ish miles today in this lovely snow. And, yep, that's everything I have to say about that.
Det her, det er toilettet. So this is the privy, and I'm not sure that it was made for winter conditions. It's very open. Very nice view, but yeah, it snows in and you get really cold when you sit on the seat. But this is a very neat thing. So they have this leaf basket, so you can throw in some leaves after you pooped. Little leaf flush. Oops. So, this is all the snow that came last night. This probably almost an inch of snow, which is about double what they predicted, but it's okay. We can manage. This is a shelter, and it says toilet. It's not really a toilet. Oh, and this is Acorn playing with the snow.
Hello.
Graffiti.
You have snow in your hair.
This is where we slept, and it's supposed to be an 8-person shelter. Could probably fit 8 persons.
You could probably fit.
And we had a tarp in front. Oh, we had a tarp in front last night because we knew that it would snow, so we didn't want the snow to get in. But we got a little bit anyway. And the shelter says weather shelter, and we don't really know what it means. Might be that this is a place you can shelter for the weather, but I think that's kind of what every shelter is supposed to be. Well, are you ready? Cool. Well, we're gonna hike 22 miles today. Huh?
22.8.
22.8.
It's chocolate. It's snowing. A mild amount. And I'm not that cold because this trash bag is so warm. Like, this is my new favorite piece of gear. Like, not even exaggerating. I mean, it keeps my legs warm. It, like, traps in all my heat. And it's waterproof. And it's, like, lightweight. So, I would, honestly, if I could get one that covered my arms and also, like, had a hood, I would, like, high-key do that. Because my arms are cold because my jacket's not waterproof anymore. But, like, everything else is so warm. And these gloves that were Kathleen's from, like, 2nd grade, let me tell you, they are waterproof and they are warm. Like, I don't care if these are, like, 15-year-old children's gloves. Like, they're getting the job done. So, that's my advice for winter gear is you get stuff that gets the job done. And that might not always be the most expensive thing. Just saying.
You're still wearing your headlamp. It's not on though.
I forgot. Oh. Well, it kind of keeps my hat on, so.
Might as well just wear it all day. Gonna night hike anyway.
Right, definitely are.
So,
Oh,
can you tell us a little bit about hiking in snow?
yeah. So, I used the word arduous, which means difficult. It's really not like slippery or icy, and that's good, but like every step you kind of slide on the powder a little bit, and it's kind of deep, and it's just kind of slow going through the snow. And then the climbing is like extra hard in the snow because I'll just like slide. I pulled out my trekking pole for the first time since Maine, like since the 100-mile wilderness. So, if that gives you any indication of how difficult it is.
How does it work with only one trekking pole?
Well, I wish I had two, but Bubbles has my trekking pole, and he needs to send it to me, please. Thank you.
Well, I can tell you that it's pretty deep actually, the snow. I would say it's definitely 2 inches of snow.
Maybe 3.
Maybe a little bit more. And
it's still currently snowing.
It's powder, kind of a little bit wet powder.
It's a nice consistency.
But yeah, it's a very good consistency, and it's definitely deep enough. So if there's any ice under it from the rain yesterday, we won't feel it. So that's great.
Good.
And it's beautiful. Acorn.
Hi.
What is that sign over there?
It's the Big Butt Bypass.
And what's the big butt?
It's just a bunch of rocks covered in snow.
And did we go over the summit?
No.
So why is there a bypass?
said that you don't have to go over all those rocks when they're covered in snow.
And who told you that?
We discovered it by not taking the bypass.
So that means that the AT just goes over a lot of big rocks.
For no reason.
And you
Well-
could have taken this blue pass, and then you could have gone without having to be like scrambling through snow-covered rocks, being afraid that you would break an ankle.
It's possible there was a view,
Oh, there might have been a view.
but we don't know that.
We don't know because everything is white.
Oh, you can like literally see the snowflakes. Like they look like little sprinkles. Like look at that.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that? I've never seen that before. That's so cool.
Well, this is it.
So, this is a lesson in Winter Backpacking 101, and this is how you melt the snow when your water is frozen solid. Woo! So currently I'm making some breakfast ramen because it's hot and I'm cold, but I would like to be warm. So I'm hoping to take some of the heat from the ramen into my body so that I can warm myself. But let's see, how much, what's the ratio of snow to water?
So if you want 1 quart, no, we could say 1 pint of water, then you need 5 quarts of snow.
You can say it in milliliters and stuff.
Okay, if you want 1 liter of water, then you need 10 liters of snow.
Okay, makes sense. So
If you want 1 gallon of water, then you need 10 gallons of snow.
so it's a 1 to 10 ratio. Makes sense. Basically, you need a lot of snow to make not even that much water. So, but this should be enough to cook my ramen.
You can put more power in this.
Well, it's melting really fast. So yeah, that's our winter lesson for now.
You need to cook it. Wow. Look at these. Frost flowers. I don't know if you can see it. Oh.
So it's December 4th now, and we are just leaving Hot Springs, which is the best town on the whole AT. Oh, and you see that building over there with the green roof? That's the best food on the whole AT. It's the diner that's in town, and they have like really good food and really good portions for great prices, and I would just eat there like every day if I lived here. It's so good. And everybody in Hot Springs was so nice. We stayed at Elmer's Sunnyside Inn, which is like an old Victorian house, and that was very like well priced, and like they made food and you like sit around the table and eat it all together, and it's really good. And yeah, Hot Springs is our favorite town on the AT so far. So love that. And
We got new gear.
yeah, we got some new gear. What did we get?
I
Oh.
got gloves,
Uh-huh. Yes, rubber gloves.
latex, reusable gloves
Mm-hmm.
for the rain.
And what's on your legs?
I got new long gaiters
Mm-hmm. I did also.
because we might be hiking in more snow.
In the Smokies.
So it's gonna be nice to have something to keep it out of the boots.
Mm-hmm. And what else did we get for our shoes?
We got some, I think I have them on my pack.
Yeah. Ah, they're right here.
We got some
Micro spikes. I got some as well for ice in the Smokies. And I got some new rain stuff.
We expect to be in the Smokies in like 4 days from now, 3 days from now.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's gonna be like freezing temperatures at night, and then higher, like 40s and 50s in the days.
I don't know about 50s.
Oh, but
But above freezing.
So we might have like a lot of ice,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the mornings.
So we need those micro spikes for traction.
Traction.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that's all the updates right now.
Oh, you got a new rain jacket.
Yeah, it was a really nice one, and it was like discounted, and it's like extra long, but it fits really good. It's what is it called? Outdoor Research or something?
I think you got it for more than half price.
Yeah,
It was like 180.
yeah, and I got it for like about half of that, so from the outfitter. So that's really good. And I think that's all the updates for right now. Hopefully it won't be so cold that I can't film on this iPhone in the Smokies, because every time I like take a picture or pull up my phone when it's cold, it just like dies and drains all the battery and undownloads all my podcasts and music on Spotify, which is,
Maybe we could do some gear reviews.
yeah, we can do some of that. We might have a little bit of extra time in the next few days. Maybe not today, because we still have to hike 13 miles and it's already 2 o'clock because we were doing errands in town and wasting time.
What kind of reviews should we do?
Well,
Maybe you should
our
make
sleep systems, our cook systems, maybe, our clothing.
Maybe you should send an update where you ask people what they want to have for gear reviews.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I could do that. It probably would be easy to post it. Okay, well, we'll see about maybe doing that so that y'all can tell us like what kind of gear of ours you want to know about for hiking in these kind of conditions this time of year. All right, that's all. Acorn and Candybar signing off. We're climbing. Okay, we're almost
So good.
on top of the very famous Max Patch. It's actually up there. But we're taking a break to melt some snow because I forgot to get water. And we're gonna cook some hot food. And it's very beautiful up here. I'll take another video on the actual bald up there so you can see both sides of it. But it's very nice here. Here on the summit of Max Patch now. That should be the Smokies over there. So I'm here at Standing Bear Hostel. Let me see the date. It's gotta be like December 7th. Let me look. See if his phone tells me. Let me in. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what the date is. I think it's December 7th today. But anyway, Candybar is helping them unload a motorcycle before we head out, so I'll just give a few updates. So we're heading into the Smokies today. I know some of the other Sobos in the bubble are skipping the Smokies just because it's such high elevation. Like everything is around 6,000 feet on the AT. I mean, pretty much you just go straight up to the top and then you're up on the ridge. for most of it. It's about 70 miles, 72 miles, I think, through there. But of course, like the Smokies can be really dangerous in the winter. So I completely understand why some people are going around it. But Candybar and I are going to go through. I think that we're pretty prepared. The last couple weeks, we've learned a lot about what to do and what not to do, as far as like snow and cold and with the gear that we have. I think I talked earlier about some of the new winter gear we got in Hot Springs. So we have our micro spikes and the long gaiters, which I'm wearing right now. These guys. And we are going to take our time in the Smokies. We're not in a big hurry. So we're probably going to do, today we're just going to Davenport Gap Shelter, which is the northernmost shelter. It's only like 5 miles from here. And then it's going to be like 15 miles a day. I have almost 6 days of food, which is like more food than I've carried on the whole trail. But we're not doing big miles, like I said. And we've factored in like if we need to hang out in a shelter for a day because of the rain. Today is Saturday, and Monday night it's supposed to get like 2 inches of rain. So it's pretty warm right now, like freeze thaw conditions, which means ice in the morning and at night, and maybe during the day as well. So it's supposed to rain a lot Monday night, and then the cold front is coming in, and it's supposed to snow some on Tuesday. So we have factored in like a day of waiting out the weather if we need to in a shelter somewhere. We also have the Nat Geo map of the park in case we need to like bail out somewhere, because there are like plenty of side trails. And of course I'm somewhat familiar with a lot of the AT in the Smokies, done bits and pieces and other loops and things like that. So I have some experience there. And yeah, so we'll come out at Fontana Dam probably in like 5 days. And then we're going to hike to the NOC, and we might, well, Candybar is going to be ending his hike there, most likely at the NOC, because he has to fly back home to Denmark. And then I may or may not continue on to Springer. We'll see. I mean, it's not that far, and I'm fine with like hiking alone. And you know, the Smokies are the most dangerous part, but it's just very cold. I might just finish up in the spring. We'll see. I'll make some decisions later on, but I'm pretty flexible with that right now. So I'm pretty excited for the Smokies. I really hope that it's not so cold that my phone keeps malfunctioning. For the last couple weeks, pretty much any time I pull up my phone to take a picture or a video, it just like shuts down completely and then drains the battery all the way. Even though I keep it like in my pocket to keep it warm, but I don't know. It's an iPhone. It's an older iPhone, so you know, they like to make them obsolete, and it's not so good for like cold and wet conditions. So hopefully I'll be able to film. Maybe we can film some on Candybar's phone, if not. But I'll do my best to give you as good of an idea of what the Smokies are like on the AT in this time of year, which is early December. So yeah, I'll give you some more updates soon. We are about to cross under I-40, heading towards the park. Great Smoky Mountains National Park, that is. Let's show you. Why is it so dark? Really can't even see. And through-hiker permit, it's going in the box. It's a $20 fee, but basically you can take up to 30 days from your estimated start date to go through the park. So I guess like on average people might take like 4 days to go through or something, maybe like 3 to 5. And if you're paying for staying at shelters or campsites individually, it's $4 a night. So it's about the same rate. Like there's not really a discount for through hiking. So, but it's fair. It's not too bad. Especially since they don't charge a fee to enter the park. So I don't mind having to pay to stay at the shelters and stuff.
How heavy is your pack?
Probably heavier than me.
Probably heavier than you.
Probably like at least a third of my body weight.
Wow.
It's so heavy.
How much is your body weight?
110
And
pounds.
oh yeah. So if it's like 35 pounds, then it's a third of your body. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's probably more than you lost since you started, right?
Oh yeah. Yes.
See ya.
Okay, so I know this is a lot of videos today, but I just wanted to show you the shelter. Okay, well, the water source is down there. I'm taking a video. Yes. And this shelter has a bear cage. This is a Davenport Gap shelter. Does that mean we don't have to hang our food?
Well, I think we can hang it in here.
Okay, cool. I've never been to this shelter before, but look at this. It's kind of sketch, but like also kind of awesome at the same time.
Does this mean that we can be like that someone can come and close us in and like lock us in here?
Well, you can open it from the outside and the inside.
But what if they put like a chain around?
Oh, yeah, they could lock us in here, but we could bust out through the window up there.
Oh, that's good.
For sure.
Because there's definitely gonna come someone and lock us in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's definitely going to happen.
I know, we're in the U.S. right now.
Toilet area. Does that mean there's not actually a privy?
Toilet area?
They have a shovel. Usually shovel indicates no privy. Not always, though. Okay, goodbye.
So we just talked about what Acorn is eating, the thing that's like making all the noise right now. And you can't eat it while you make video because
I know.
you can hear it on the video and it's gonna be like
Fine.
bad video. Anyway, so Acorn was eating a moon pie and she said that that was a very good calorie thing. And it's only $0.7 dollar, right? 69 cents.
59.
59. Oh, 60 cents.
Mm-hmm.
So what I have here from the same store is
For
the
$3.
the Kate's Real Food, and this is a hand rolled and great taste bar called the Tiki Bar, and this is only $3 for a bar, which is like really expensive. But in this is organic coconut, organic honey, organic almond butter, organic dried mangoes, organic brown rice crisps, and organic almonds and sea salt and organic lemon extract. That's all that's in this. And how many calories is it? It's 260 calories at 2.2 ounces.
Okay.
Pretty good. And it tastes delicious.
It's also very bougie.
Yeah. So if you have a lot of money, buy this instead of moon
But if you're
pies.
poor, buy moon pies.
Kate's Real Food.
So it's currently December 9th, and why is it always so dark in here? Well, we're in a shelter, tri-corner shelter, and you can see that they have this tarp up. It's morning now, we were just doing breakfast, and we looked right over here at the entrance, or I did, maybe like 20 minutes ago, and noticed a little friend come in here to join us. So a little spotted skunk just like trotted on in here and went somewhere underneath of us. We're on the top level right now, and I'm about to go down there, walk over there and get my guidebook. So I'll see if I see the little critter.
You'll see if you see it.
I'll see if I see him, and hopefully he doesn't spray us before we leave this shelter, because
We
that
still
would
have-
suck.
Still have like 2.5 days, 3 days.
Yeah. So it's raining today. It was supposed to rain like tonight and tomorrow, but it's raining now. It rained last night, so we're gonna go see where we want to go today. Okay, that's all. I'll update you if I find the skunk. I'm coming down.
Do you see it?
Borrow your headlamp.
Yes.
Okay, well, he definitely couldn't go underneath. That's for sure. Can you, like, toss it to me? Where did he go? Ah, there's a hole right here.
Yeah. Probably went in there.
Well. Oh. Yeah, there's a hole back there too. Okay.
Where are we now?
We're in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I think we just passed the Eagle Rocks view.
Wow.
And we're going to Bradley's view.
Do we have any views up here?
Not today, but we're doing a short day, so hopefully we can get some views tomorrow.
There should be views here, but doesn't look like it. Oh. Look at how exposed this is. And there's the view. Hey,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Wet.
You're wet?
Yes, everywhere. Well, not under my rain jacket, but elsewhere.
Well, I'm also very wet. But I feel great right now. It's not very windy on this side, so
No, I'm glad.
it's really cool. And I bet there would be like some crazy beautiful views if it wasn't so fogged up. Corn,
Hi.
what are we doing?
We are putting on dry clothes because it rained all day. Well, it actually didn't rain that hard, but it rained a lot last night, and the trail was just like a river, and it was raining like lightly. So that's what. Then we're gonna eat food because we didn't take any breaks or anything. We just went for it.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but I'm shivering right now. I'm so cold.
Get inside your clothes.
All of my clothes are wet, but I have a clean pair of dry underwear. I have a clean pair of, no, it's not clean, but they're dry. A dry pair of insulated pants, and I'm wearing my puffy. It's dry. I'm wearing a dry shirt underneath in wool. So, and soon I'm gonna go inside that sleeping bag over there. I'm looking forward to that. Whew. Yeah, it was a cold day today on the trail.
Well, why
Just-
was it cold for you?
Hiking in a stream all day with wet feet and having a rain jacket that doesn't really keep you dry makes it really cold. So, and I wanted to keep my dry clothes for when we got to the shelter, so just had to keep on hiking in the cold and just get warm when we get here. That's pretty good. So back to putting on some warm clothes. Maybe I should just go without soles.
What are you doing right now?
I just put my feet inside my shoes.
How long did that take?
About 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm trying to heat my shoes up a little bit so they can be a little bit bigger.
And why is it like that?
Because we had rain all day yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
so my shoes were all wet and soaked, and now they're like stiff and frozen.
So are mine. I couldn't get them on after trying for a long time, so I put them out in the sun in the hopes that they would heat up. We'll see. Would you say that the cold is painful? Oh?
What?
Would you say that the cold is painful?
Yes.
Okay. I agree. You know the name of this shelter is called Ice Water Spring?
Maybe because it's icy water spring.
Ooh.
I might just pour some hot water on.
Or you could put them in the sun like I did.
I don't think it helps.
Well, we'll find out. Okay, that's all for this video. Any other words?
This is a video.
My shorts are frozen, but I'm going to put them on anyway.
Can you mold them?
I can make probably like a heart. Let's see if I can. It's a heart, right?
Kinda.
Or an apple.
Or sassafras leaf.
Oh, a sassafras leaf. I'm cold.
You're looking forward to putting on your frozen pants.
Yes. Can I like warming up in here?
Oh no. Now my sleeping bag is gonna be wet.
Why?
Oh yeah, by the way, what is it called?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Swapped. We swapped our sleeping bags.
Oh, yeah.
It happens almost every morning when Missy sees that I'm not in my sleeping bag. She just like moves over in it. Like, oops, this is mine.
Yours is so warm.
And this is the map.
And my frozen pants over there.
And this is
Mostly your
stuff.
stuff.
And it's sunny. We are currently hiking the road. Oh! I hope she didn't fall. It's very slippery. Hi, Acorn.
Hello.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Be careful.
Okay.
Hi. So, as you can see, I'm not on the Appalachian Trail right now. I've been home for maybe like a week and a half already. It's almost Christmas, a few days before, so getting towards the end of December now. But I wanted to give a little bit of a recap and explain some things because we didn't really explain everything when we were out on the trail because we were kind of just trying to get back, trying to get off trail. So we're done hiking for the season, Candybar and I are, and we ended at Newfound Gap parking area in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. But when we decided to go down to Gatlinburg because we were gonna get some more food because we were kind of running out and we didn't feel like it was a good idea to go through the rest of the Smokies with maybe having enough food, but maybe not. So we're planning on getting a shuttle to take us down the road that goes to Gatlinburg. I think it's 441. But when we got there, the road was closed because of ice. So we decided just to walk down the road at night to get there. So It's 15 miles down the road, but we only walked about 13 and a half maybe. And then once we got down to the Sugarlands Visitor Center, we called an Uber to take us the rest of the way because it was nighttime and we were already really cold. So once we got to Gatlinburg, we decided just to end the hike there for now, and we're probably going to do the rest in the spring, maybe going northbound from Springer Mountain to Newfound Gap to kind of avoid the Nobo bubble for 2020. But we decided to get off trail because Candybar had to fly home to Denmark, and we knew we weren't going to make it all the way. And then it was just getting very cold, and I thought about continuing the rest by myself, but after being out there in winter conditions for a month, I realized that winter hiking is fun, but it's a lot to be out there for that long in the cold all the time, especially here in the southeast, because it's not just like everything's frozen all the time and there's, you know, snow. It's not just that, but often it warms up enough to rain on you. So it's just kind of this cycle of it rains a lot on you and everything gets soaked, no matter how good your rain gear is or how you try to protect your feet. When the trail's flooded and you're hiking out for hours all day in the rain, your stuff's gonna get wet. So the cycle of everything getting wet, and then it gets cold again and all the wet stuff freezes, and then you're just left with frozen clothes and frozen gear. And I was just getting kind of tired of it. It wasn't worth it to me, especially since I do have another section to finish in Virginia. It wasn't worth it to be out there when we can just go back in the spring and it'll be much more enjoyable. I think if I had hiked straight all the way from Katahdin down to the Smokies and I hadn't got Giardia and had to get off trail and skip a section anyway, I probably would have been more motivated just to push through and finish. But because it wasn't really like a true through hike anyway, and I still have to finish some other spots, I just decided that I was done for the season. So I just also wanted to say, talk a little bit about some of the gear that we did like using in those kinds of conditions. So my favorite piece of gear, well, besides my trash bag that I talked about, which I did replace with that new rain jacket, which was really good. But if you're ever in a pinch and you need some way to waterproof yourself, one of those thick black plastic trash bags did really good for me. Nothing that I was wearing under it really got wet, and it was also a pretty good insulator. Let me let the cat inside. You wanna go inside? Tail. And so that one worked really good in a pinch. Something else that we got in Hot Springs that I talked a little bit about were these micro spikes. So they just kind of like pop over your shoe like this, and Candybar and I both added this extra like paracord strap on it, which was necessary, but these were the least expensive ones they had, and they were $20. And they function really well on the ice. A lot of the time I felt like I could just walk normally when otherwise I would be obviously sliding on the ice. And also if you're going between ice and snow or some dry rocky patches, you know, a little bit and then back to ice, they did fine. I didn't have to take them off. So we probably hiked, I don't know, we hiked maybe like 10 or 15 miles at the most with these, and then used them in like just icy patches other times, and they were fine. I didn't have to clean them out or anything. The little micro spikes, they're not really spikes, they're just kind of like coils. They did fine. But the first time we used them, I actually had to backtrack a little bit because mine popped off because we didn't have this extra strap that we put on here. So we added the strap and then they didn't pop off anymore. And we actually, we don't have to take off the strap every time. This just regular paracord, it was good enough to slide over and like remain tight on the shoe. And then you can kind of see that we did it, but if you like singe the ends with a lighter, you can make it pretty much a permanent strap. So that's what I would recommend for these. I think probably the other most important thing to do in the winter, make sure you have your Sawyer or water filter. Well, I guess maybe just the Sawyers. I don't know if it would be the same for the Be Free or one of the other styles. But I know most people are using the Sawyer anyway. But make sure you keep it like in the pocket of your puffy jacket. And not just at night either. We had to keep them in our pocket during the day. Because if there's any moisture inside the filter and that freezes, I don't know if it expands or what it is, but it's the general consensus that the filter no longer functions once it's been frozen. So we'd sleep with it in our pockets, hike with it in our pockets. Eventually I would put it in a Ziploc bag in my pocket so it wouldn't like leak out. But that's a necessity, because you really don't want to be out there without a water filter. And number two, definitely I would recommend keeping some iodine on hand, because it is so easy to just forget or to leave it out for, I don't know, however long it takes to freeze, which is probably not that long, and then have your filter just be non-functional anymore. So keep some iodine just in your first aid kit, just a little bit. I mean, it's not very heavy, and it's worth it to have a backup water filtration or purification method. And then also, another thing, it might be a good idea, this isn't something we did necessarily, but we did see the repercussions of not doing, is maybe empty out your water bottles during the night, or at least some of them, because when they freeze solid overnight, then you either have to like heat up some water and pour some warm but not super hot water into them, or just wait till they thaw out, like put it inside your sleeping bag or something. I know Candybar ended up putting 2 of our smart water bottles in his sleeping bag with him during the night, which it's an option, but if you're really you feel like you're struggling to stay warm, then probably don't do that, because it does take away some of your body heat. But if you feel really warm, you have a really good grade sleeping bag, and you know that the lids are on super tight, that is an option. But I don't know if it's worth it, because if it does leak out in your sleep system, then that could be very, very bad. So I would recommend just leaving some empty water bottles, and then you can melt snow in the morning or whatever you need. Also, if you are melting snow for water, if everything keeps freezing every night, then you're going to need some extra fuel. So definitely carry extra fuel. We didn't experience temperatures so cold that the butane canisters stopped working. Probably our coldest was down into the upper teens. So our butane fuel and our stoves, I know I have a Snow Peak, and I'm not sure what stove Candybar has, I don't remember, but they functioned fine the whole time we were out there in cold conditions. So unless, you know, you're going up in the Smokies and you know that it's going to get much colder than that, which it does, then the butane's probably okay, at least in our experience. But make sure you carry an extra canister, because you want to have a way to be able to get water if you need to melt snow. So I think those are the most important things for winter. Again, number one, don't wear all of your warm clothes during the day, especially if it's raining or snowing. Make sure you always have some dry clothes inside of a dry bag in your pack, because if everything you have is wet and you don't have a way to get warm, that's how people die from hypothermia. So, which we were aware of going in, so we never had those kinds of issues. We always had some dry clothes on hand. So yeah, you just have to be really careful out there during the winter. So that's all of our AT hiking for now. Probably, we're planning right now, roughly maybe in like May or early June or late April, to go back out there. And I really love hiking in the spring, so hopefully it's really beautiful and maybe not super crowded, since that'd be a late start for Nobos. So, because we don't want to get in the middle of the Nobo bubble, because it'll be really crowded. But yeah, if you have any more questions, logistic things or gear, if you want me to talk about another piece of gear, you can let us know in the comments, and I'd be happy to do some additional videos about our experience. So yeah, just let us know if you have any questions or comments, or maybe you have some advice for us. Feel free to comment, and yeah, be on the lookout for updates when it's warmer.